Good afternoon, I'm Vicki DeRosa, and welcome to All About Health. Today we have with us Lisa Zorn, a registered dietitian.
Hello.
And Adam Corsi, an architect from
Philadelphia.
Yep. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And today we would like to talk about Adam's story. This is actually the first day that I'm meeting Adam. I know a little bit about his story, but I'm going to learn more about it today, just as you do. So, hello again, Adam.
Hello.
What I would like to do is just ask you about your background, your professional life, and a little bit about your health. I'd like to hold on to what I know what we're here for today, but I'd like to wait a little bit and just hear about some of your background.
Okay. 37 in a few weeks, married with 4 children. Like you said, I'm an architect, actually a commercial food service designer. Always been, got married young, always been in good health. Come from a large family, so yeah, it's just pretty standard life, pretty average life. I, work out when I can, try to stay healthy as much as I can, watch what I eat, as much as possible. So.
And so what were you, growing up, what were your eating habits? How would you say that, I mean, and I'll tell you why I'm asking. From a very young age, I have been watching additives and preservatives and chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, growing up, what was your, basically, your eating habits, your family's eating habits?
Yeah, I mean, I come from Irish-Italian family, so my grandparents loved to cook. Every Sunday we go to a big Italian dinner. My mother learned to cook, for my father and for 7 kids. So, every night
7 kids?
Yeah, 7 kids. Every night was a big dinner, but I was always a picky eater growing up.
Okay. When you say picky, you mean picky as in not too healthy, or picky?
A little bit of both. Fruits and vegetables I didn't eat a lot of. Okay. I drank a lot of sodas, iced teas, a lot of candy, but I was always skinny growing up because that's all I pretty much consumed. A lot of cereal, that kind of stuff, but not the healthy cereals.
So a lot of cereals, a lot of candy, a lot of soda.
Yeah, yeah.
But you probably didn't think you had to worry too much because you were thin.
Yeah,
in shape, basically. Okay.
When I was 14, I got hit by a car and hurt my leg, so sports and all that kind of suffered from that point on.
Okay.
Always kind of watched what I eat from that point on because I with going through puberty and all that, started seeing some changes, so I tried to watch what I eat more and more as I hit my teen years. And when I got married and started having kids like everyone else, I did put on some weight and started eating, unhealthy with work and everything else.
Now, when you say start eating unhealthy, what do you in terms of what?
It was fast food, whatever we could afford. We didn't have a lot of money in that, so we eat a lot of fast food. Did not do a lot of exercise. I was working 3 jobs, so didn't have time to go to the gym or any of that. So, yeah, got unhealthy for a while, for a few years.
Okay. Now, and I think I know the story, but you can correct me. You started to have some symptoms, some MS-like symptoms. Am I right? Is that the story? Okay.
Well, it started with your eye, right?
Yeah. Last August, I was driving, and I got double vision and had to pull over. I do a lot of driving for work, and I panicked and pulled off to the side of the road. It happened again.
So you actually got double vision while you were driving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it freaked me out. I mean, I never experienced anything like that.
Okay.
And then it happened again later that day while I was driving again. Kind of thought maybe I was just tired, or I didn't know what it was. Started getting other eye symptoms, blurriness. The double vision kept coming back. I was getting floaters in my eyes, in mostly my left eye. Was
now, when you say floaters, just so that everyone understands, what does that mean?
I was getting a black cloud that would come across my eye at times, or cover up part of my vision. you know, my peripheral vision.
Okay.
So that was the first symptom I saw, and I went to the eye doctor for it. As I was at the eye doctor, other symptoms started happening beyond just the eyes.
Like what?
I started shaking a lot. My hands were shaking constantly. I was getting, my legs were getting numb, twitching in my legs.
So it wasn't just hands, it was your whole body.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most of the time it was my hands. When I was doing things, I would notice if I was on the phone that my hands would shake a lot. That was the first thing I really noticed with it. Then I started realizing, well, there was a tingling all the time in my left leg.
Okay.
When I was driving especially. Just started noticing things, but I didn't pay any attention to it because I was worried about my eye at the time. And I started noticing eye problems more and more, and they diagnosed me. They went through a number of tests and diagnosed me with optic neuritis at the time.
Okay. Which is what? Can you just explain for a second?
It's the optic nerve of the eye. There's
Okay.
discoloration, and basically it caused me to lose the bottom left-hand side of my left eye, vision in that.
Was the vision in the right eye okay at this
Yeah,
point?
yeah, and it wasn't,
just-
my right
okay.
eye was fine. When they did all the tests, they noticed it was the left eye was the issue.
Okay.
There was some discoloration on the bottom left of my left eye,
Okay.
and I did lose the vision there. Luckily, it stopped. They gave me steroid treatments and all that, which helped stop the any more damage.
Okay.
And
Did the nurse come to the house and
yeah, they nurse came to the house. They hooked me up for 2 weeks with
IV.
steroids, IV, that I would hook myself up to every night and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it helped and did stop. But from that's when the nurse started asking me questions about shaking and that kind of stuff when she was first hooking me up. And that was kind of the red flag when I started answering yes, yes. And she recommended I should talk to someone, that there may be something else going on. Because optic neuritis is supposedly linked to MS. So I did take her advice, and I went to a neurologist and started talking to the neurologist about what was going on. And then at that point, I actually, as I was seeing the neurologist for testing for MS and other things, I actually had the symptoms were getting worse as far as the shaking. I wasn't sleeping. I started passing out at times, just blacking out with no knowledge. I mean, I just would...
Just blacking out in the middle of the day?
Yeah, yeah. I actually fell and broke my nose.
Oh my goodness.
Got up and just fell right into a wall. And so it was, I came in last winter from outside and just fell onto the coffee table. And so,
oh my goodness.
yeah, so we were getting a little worried. I mean, it was,
So you had the loss of eyesight in one eye, you had the numbness in your legs, shaking, and then you would black out. Were you foggy? Was it a consistent bad feeling? Were there times that you felt good, or was it just always
yeah, I mean,
feeling poorly?
I think feeling the way I do now, I'm realizing that I always
Yeah.
felt poorly,
Wow.
pretty much.
So then how long, so you saw the neurologist.
I went on and had a lot of tests done. I mean, all different tests, sleeping tests, and
Yeah.
they would hook things up to my brain and that kind of stuff to try to figure out what was going on.
Now let me just ask, how long of a process was this? From start to,
The symptoms started August. I think I saw the doctor. September was the first doctor visit I saw. And it went on till consistently every 2 weeks I was seeing the doctor till January, maybe February, beginning of February.
Okay.
So
5-6 months, actually.
yeah, yeah. And it was scary just not knowing what was wrong, that, when the passing out started, that's when I really started panicking, because
Yeah.
I did drive a lot. They said if I passed out again,
They would take
they
your
would take my
license? Oh, my
license and everything
goodness.
else. So I was thinking, what am I going to do about work? And
Sure.
So yeah, so that's kind of where I was at come February.
And so then, so what was the diagnoses at that point by the physicians? Were they convinced that it was MS?
No, they were not. They felt all the symptoms led to MS.
Okay.
They even had one of the heads of neurology come down from the lab and diagnose me and say that they believe that it's MS, but some of the blood tests and everything, the spinal taps and all that, aren't showing certain things that say MS. And they said, well, it could be we're just catching it in the early stages, and in 10, 15 years it'll be full blown, and
Oh
you know,
my
that kind
goodness.
of stuff. But they didn't know.
How did you feel at that point?
I was depressed, you know.
Yeah.
I was depressed, not knowing, and you know, thinking that it could develop into full MS and all that.
Can I just interrupt you for a second? At that point, when all those things were happening, did you ever consider that it might have anything to do with anything that you were drinking or eating? Or
No.
did you change? No. So, which means, obviously, then my next question was going to be, did you change anything about your eating habits? But it didn't occur to you that it might actually be something that...
No, I mean, I have been a pretty good eater, you know, as far as I don't eat anything high in fat, you know.
He's
Yeah.
fat-free.
Yeah, I eat a lot of fat-free and that kind of stuff.
He's
and,
a fat-free freak.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I watch what I eat
All right.
that way.
Okay.
So I didn't think anything of that.
Sure.
I thought maybe it was just my sleeping pattern, you know,
Okay.
with stress and that. I wasn't sleeping a lot,
Okay.
you know, for a long time. So I never really was a good sleeper.
Okay.
So I was thinking maybe it had something to do with that, but never really thought about food or drinks.
And so then what happened?
This is my brother-in-law, by the way. What happened was my mom, who's just always searching and researching, and she's also really into health, and you know, she does a lot of internet surfing, came across an article about aspartame and the possible link to symptoms of MS. And it was a whole article, right?
Yep.
And she sent it to Adam, and from there,
I read what it said, and it was, you know, eye loss, you know, eye problems, shaking, tingling, numbness in the legs, passing out, and it says clear as day that it mimics MS, and that people don't realize that it has the same. It basically, you know, has the same symptoms as MS, aspartame poisoning. So I took that to my neurologist, and he was kind of stunned. I mean, he was a young doctor, so you know, he kind of, it seemed like he knew what it was, but never really thought about it.
So it never occurred to him to even consider that
No.
might, wow,
No.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so when
I just want to say one thing. Ever since I've known Adam, and you know, I've known him, he's been married to my sister for a long time, he always had a jug of diet iced tea in his hand, a gallon.
Yeah.
He just drinks, you know, he's
I'm addicted to drinking
diet iced tea.
Yeah.
well, you used to be, you should say.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean.
So as far as back as you can remember,
Oh,
and you're so
yes.
young, Adam. You said you're 37.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Just one more thing, can I say? I know
Yes,
we're probably
please.
running out of time, but now though, one of his doctors, I don't know which one, told him that it's okay for him to drink Splenda as long as he doesn't drink aspartame.
Yes.
So he will still drink things with Splenda in it.
I will add Splenda to like unsweetened iced tea
No,
and
Adam.
coffee. I try to limit it, you know, as much as I can. But yeah, I mean, I was told by the doctor, and
The doctor
you know,
said,
again,
We're
I'm
on-
listening to the doctor who told me
We're on
that.
television, so I can't yell at him, or can I?
You know, I mean, it's my one bad thing, and it's an addiction. I mean, I was drinking iced tea and soda, like Lisa said, you know, diet iced tea, diet soda. It kind of got me through the day. So
and so you.
where do you use Splenda now? In your coffee or?
yeah, well, I don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink a lot of iced tea, still unsweetened.
Oh, well, it's on. Oh, so you just add it yourself now.
Add it myself. Yeah.
Before we get to that topic, since
I
I
knew you'd
obviously
wanna
have
hear
a lot
that.
to say, just get back for a second. So you were sent this article by your mother-in-law.
Yes.
You took it to your physician,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point he said, yes, it is possible.
He said it is possible.
What was the diagnosis then at that point? And what was the article about? That you had a toxicity, you had to treat.
Yeah, it's basic that it's that it's an actual poison, in your system, poisons your system, and there is a way to diet to. I think it's a hair follicle test where you can actually diagnose it. His recommendation was let's move forward and detox for 6 months on nothing but water, avoid any aspartame products and let's see what happens.
Okay. So you cut it out immediately out of your diet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Cut it right out. Within 2 to 3 weeks, I never regained full vision back in my eye. I mean,
so
that's permanent damage in my left eye.
Really?
Yeah. But I did, within a couple weeks, notice the shaking stopping. I was sleeping better.
Okay.
No more passing out.
Oh, that's nice.
And I mean, now I feel great. I mean, it's been,
He's back to himself.
Yeah, yeah.
So then what does your physician, so then I guess any of the physicians that you saw had to realize that it was not MS or that it was this aspartame. What did they say at the I'm just curious.
Well, the last time I went there, they said it's, aspartame poisoning, avoid it at all costs at this point because it can come back,
Okay.
And I'm doing my best to avoid it. I mean, it's not an easy thing because a lot of foods have aspartame in it and that kind of stuff, but I do try my best to avoid it and read any label I can and that kind of stuff to avoid avoid eating it. So.
And I'm not sure about this. I've been told this by other people. Your doctors are right. It can come back, and from what I understand, it comes back meaner than ever. I personally have friends who, thank God, I have convinced them to stay away from Diet Coke. And what it seems like is they stay away from it, and then if they have one, and that's why I asked you about the fogginess, if they have one and they haven't had any aspartame product for months, and then all of a sudden they'll have just one Diet Coke, what has been described to me is that they actually feel like they're underwater, like they're under a bubble. That's
kind of how you feel. I mean, I didn't realize it until I cleared myself of it, how I was feeling. But I felt like I was always in a fog. I mean,
and the fog is what that's why I asked you about in the fog, because I have a very close girlfriend who that's what I remember, and it's funny, she'll probably kill me for saying this on television, but she has stayed away from Diet Coke, and then I knew she had had just one Diet Coke, and a few days later she complained about this in a fog feeling. And I guess it's very hard to understand, one doesn't actually realize what it actually stems from. So you gave up, you decided to go cold turkey from aspartame.
Yes, but like Lisa said, I am having some Splenda.
We'll take care of that later.
You're going to be her new project.
All right, but just talk to me a little bit. So after that happened, now, all right, so your eyesight will never come back, but everything else has been resolved.
I'm sorry, one more story.
Sure, please.
Last year, I had Thanksgiving at my house. So, my sister and Adam and the kids were all coming over for dinner. And Adam is very sharp. He's always been very sharp. He's very smart. He's been to my house like 6 times at that point. He got lost coming to my house. So he was in the heart of this.
Oh my goodness.
And my husband actually had to meet him on the side of the road to get them to follow to our house. And that's when I started to get worried. I knew then that something wasn't right because Adam is just not, he can get anywhere, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did it, here you are a dietitian. Did it occur to you ever?
I should have thought, I should have put it together. I didn't, but after, my mom came up with the article, I realized, well, it totally made sense. I mean, everything is diet, everything is fat-free. That's his diet. Is it still?
Yeah.
Wait. What?
No, everything's still fat-free.
Still fat-free
he's really,
Splenda.
But see, he doesn't have, no cheese on your pizza, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just, fanatic. fat.
But so what's interesting is, you know, here you are, you obviously are concerned about health, but what your
Yes.
concerns about health
Or just more,
Were.
I guess, weight and calories.
weight and calories, which is a myth, right? I mean, you know, being
But
concerned.
if you went back to all natural and your,
Yeah.
you know, the good fats.
You know, what's interesting, I just saw, I think it was on Fox News, it was I think on Fox, I can't remember which, but it was a dietitian from England who actually suggested that it is far better to eat the good fats, you know, the nuts, the meats, the lean protein, all those seeds, beans, instead of, you know, this was her take, but instead of fruits and vegetables. But I don't know why I threw that out there. But it kind of sounded funny because when they introduced her, they said, you know, instead of eating fruits and vegetables, eat fat. And then they explained what kind of fat.
Right.
But so your issue was always just low fat, no fat in your diet.
Yeah,
and so you thought by drinking Diet Coke and not taking in any sugar that you were actually being very, very concerned about your health.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what? So have you seen a change in his diet?
Well, I don't see him that much. You know, they live in Pennsylvania, but I don't see the diet iced tea jug in his hand anymore. So.
Yeah, I definitely don't carry that around anymore.
I mean, his diet wasn't bad. Besides that, it was, you know,
Yeah.
he's very strict. He doesn't eat any fat. I mean, not that that's we need fat in our diet, so that's not good. And a lot of things that are fat free usually have a lot of chemicals in them.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be nice to see him turn towards more, you know, of the poly and monounsaturated fats, you know, more fruits and vegetables, and try to get back to basics with, you know.
Did you know you were going to be in between me and Lisa today, and we were going to bombard you?
So you'll have to
No,
come back.
You know, I don't know enough about all that. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I literally know what I see or on TV and that stuff. So
Yeah,
You can
that's
always
the problem.
call me.
We're going to take a short break, and I'd like to share. Remind me, I would like to really share a story about a very young woman that I know when we come back. So thank you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to All About Health. We don't have a whole lot of time, so I just wanted to share this quick story just to give you. I think that you're one of the lucky ones. Thank God that you are sitting here telling us about this. But one of my instructors at the studio, actually, her mother-in-law was very, you know, like you, very into fat-free, low-fat, very conscious about her weight. But see, this is why I wanted to talk to you about these issues today, because a lot of people are conscious about their weight and think that they equate, right, Lisa, health to low fat.
Being thin.
Yes. So this instructor, her mother-in-law, and she's told me I can repeat this story, but her mother-in-law was diagnosed, always had Diet Coke, low fat, Tab, you know, Splenda, diagnosed with dementia at, I believe, 51.
Wow.
And then, but apparently she was on the Parkway and never made it home, got lost. So it really affected her, and I think she lived with dementia for another 9 years and then passed away. So the moral of the story is, please stay away from Splenda.
yeah, yeah.
No, you know, and I'm amazed that the doctor. So you're saying that your physicians have said it's okay to have a little bit of Splenda. Is that the case?
Yeah.
They're not alternative. You know,
Yeah.
the doctors, you know, they only need 1 or 2 nutrition courses throughout their whole, you
Yeah.
know, education.
Now, do you think it's an addiction to Splenda? Like,
Yeah.
I've actually never, I don't think, if I have had a Diet Coke, I can't recall. So maybe I did as a child, but I don't know what it.
For me, it's an addiction. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing as somebody who smokes or somebody who
Okay.
drinks alcohol or whatever. It's I'm always thirsty and craving. You know, the flavor. You know, and I don't understand
Now,
it, but
can we only have a couple minutes. Can we try something? Can we can we just try, can we bring you back on the show, but can we try, after the show, can we just sit down and talk about diet and maybe making some changes in your diet and in your drink, and then we have you back in about a month and see how you're doing? Would that be okay?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
All right. Well, the first thing I'm going to cut out, obviously, is Splenda. And any other products that are low fat that have Splenda in them.
Okay.
Or sucralose.
Yes. Yes. Actually, we didn't. I apologize, Lisa. We didn't give you much of an opportunity
That's okay.
today. So.
That's all right.
But we'll see you back in about a month, and we'll make we'll try it. Lisa and I will actually work on the plan for you, and we'll see how you do.
Great.
Well, thank you. Thank you for telling your story.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks.